Let's see here. I'm working on a couple properties. I'm going to show you here an example of how we can make an offer on a property. And surprisingly enough, a lot of these properties, even today, that are actively listed on the market, bank-owned properties, foreclosure, auction properties, about 2 out of the last, I'd say 10 that we've looked at, have had multiple offers. There was a property that we bid on yesterday that had previously been under contract, and someone had agreed to buy it about 2 months ago, and then with the virus and everything, the property buyer backed out, property went back on the market, and within 2 days there was multiple offers. Now maybe some of those people had looked at the property before the lockdown, but people are still making offers on these properties without seeing them. And, I don't know how, I can't speak for everybody. I'm not sure how each person does that. But basically what I do is if you look at the property, I start with the exterior. So like on this particular property, I can see here, it's got an older metal roof, and whether it was a metal roof or a standard asphalt shingle or whatever, a lot of times you can see clearly in the pictures. So this particular property only has 5. So I'm going to have to make a lot of assumptions about the condition. But we'll pull up some other properties here that have some more pictures. And I'll show you how we are able to calculate. Here's all the properties that I'm going to be making offers on. And at this point have, no interior access to any of these because in Pennsylvania, no, real estate is able to be conducted in person. So, this particular property, what we'll look at is, there's a couple things I know for certain. So typically on a house of this size, we have $1,500 worth of demo. I can tell by looking at the exterior, we're going to do about $300 worth to that lattice on the underside of the porch that you can see underneath here. This roof, again, it's metal. I would most likely sell this property as a turnkey, which means we're going to rip that off for our purposes. Maybe it could be capped and silver coated, but we're going to want to replace that. Let me see if there's any other. There's only 5 pictures here. You can see it's got decent siding. We would power wash, paint that. You can see the back half of the roof there, up there. There's some rust. So I'm pretty confident it's the best thing to do to replace that. So if we go back to the beginning here, what we'll do, you can see here there's some spindles. So we're going to do $500 worth of porch repair, about $300 worth of exterior lights, $250 for mailbox. We're going to do $300 for a power wash. Looks like the front gutters are in good shape. Back gutters are decent, but we're going to put $500 in to reattach those gutters, put new downspouts on them, make sure all the water is being funneled away from the property. On this particular property, we're not going to spend a lot of money. We're going to say about $500 in landscape. We're getting now has aluminum siding on some of the house, vinyl siding on other parts. We're assuming that we're going to do some siding repair. We're also going to paint on this property. I would paint the exterior. You can see here, there's a lot of fading on this side. Also want to paint the shutters. So we're going to do so $1,500 worth of exterior paint. We're going to replace the exterior front door, exterior back door. You can see here, looks like the windows are all in good shape. You can see each of the replacement windows here, except for old attic windows. So there's going to be 2 on this side and 2 on the other side. So that's $800 for attic windows. They're a little bit less expensive. In the back here, you can see the back part of the garage we're going to have to paint. We're going to save $500 worth of exterior paint in the garage. As you go through the pictures here, you can see there's a basement door, so we're going to put another exterior door in for that, a storm door for that door. I don't see any problems with the fencing or anything. And then the roofing. So we have one set of roof here, the main roof and the front porch roof, I'm going to say it's probably $4,000 for the main roof, about another $1,500 probably for a rubber roof on the back, and $1,500 for that porch roof. So we're basically done the exterior. Garage door appears to be in good shape. You can look down here. Concrete's not terrible. Appears that this has some decent siding on it. What I don't know is the condition of the garage roof. I'm going to plug in $500 just for miscellaneous repairs. Now, if it needs an entire roof, then I'm off. By a couple $1,000s. If it doesn't need anything, I'm only over by $500. So now, since I don't have any interior pictures, I have to make assumptions. And the reality is, on a bank-owned property like this, more than likely the entire interior is going to need to be refinished. Because the thing is, for us, whether the property whether the property is absolutely trashed or it's just, outdated, it still needs renovated. So if I'm pulling out an outdated kitchen or the kitchen's missing, the price is roughly the same. So for me, I can go through this property and within reason calculate what the renovation cost is going to be. So I'm going to share that with you as I do that. I showed you a little bit here how we calculated that based on the pictures. We know that it takes about $1.50 a square foot labor and material to paint. So a 1,600 square foot house, $2,500 for interior paint. We're going to account for a new kitchen, new appliances, replace the switches and outlets, replace the interior lights. We have 1,680 finished square feet. On average, we're going to spend about $2 per square foot for flooring installed. We're also going to account for putting in a new furnace. Again, I can't see the furnace in this particular property, but since I'm not able to gain access, we're going to assume the worst and hope for the best. We're also going to put in miscellaneous plumbing repairs, miscellaneous electrical repairs. In any given house, particularly at this age, you have about $1,000 worth of damaged trim, door moldings, window moldings, things of that sort. We're going to put in about $500 for missing screens. I've been at this long enough that even though this property has a fair amount of newer windows, sometimes those windows will have broken seals, missing screens, things of that sort. It has 1.5 baths, so let's do a full bath. Tub, tile the surround, shower fixtures, okay? Toilet, vanity, mirror, light bar, vinyl floor. There's your bath. Then we have a half bath. Toilet, vanity, mirror, light bar, vanity floor. Okay, so the half baths, obviously, we have a little bit less money to spend on the half bath because we don't have a tub and a surround and the plumbing fixtures and a little bit less plumbing. Typically on a house like this, we're going to replace the interior doors. This house was built in pre-1900, so the reality is it's probably got older doors, or even if they're newer, they're normal wear and tear, as you can see, just like this stuff on the exterior of the house. That's not original. I mean, at some point that's been replaced. It's just damaged and old and broken and busted and needs to be replaced. So we can make those same type of assumptions with the interior, and we'll replace the interior doors. We also put new closet shelving. In a house of this age, you normally have old, closet shelving. It's very inexpensive. We put in nice wire shelving. It's about $500. So we've done paint, we've done flooring, we did the bath, we did the kitchen, we did the appliances, we did the furnace. We're going to assume it needs a hot water heater. It meant to be 1,000, not 100. We also typically find that at homes this age, we're going to rebuild the steps. They're just old, rickety, bad steps going down to the basement. Then we like to spray the walls, dry lock the walls. Let's assume that we want to put a sump pump down there. Anything else on the interior that I'm forgetting here? We've done flooring. We've done everything on the exterior. We've done paint. We've done plumbing. We've done mechanicals. We've added a new furnace. We've done virtually everything. So at $45,750 is what it would cost us to renovate a house of this size. This house is 1,680 square feet, has a 2-car garage. So then what I'll do is calculate my offer. Now, Dave, who is our property analyst, who does the majority of this calculations. It's actually doing a couple deal analysis right now, but has a spreadsheet that does this. I'm a little more old school. I still do it pen and paper. So we will look at, let's also look to see what the property is worth. So what we can do here is we're going to take this property address, copy it. Nobody really cares about how this works. You just want to see what the results are. So we're going to do a search. And then we're going to go to the map. I can plug in my address of the property we're looking at here. It's going to take me to that location. This particular property they're asking $66,000 for. So we're at the renovation phase. Again, $45,750. I just walked you through how we got to $45,750 based off of just the information we have here and the pictures that are available online. So I know what the renovation is going to be now, okay? And then a couple other things. We want to go into a deal like this with a projected $20,000 profit. The last things that we're going to have to fill out here, let's write this down, is our acquisition cost, which is a percentage of what we're going to pay for it, which will be this bottom number. And then we have our cost to sell. All right, so once we have these four numbers, we need after repaired value. I already calculated the renovation. We walked through all of that. We went step by step how I got to that, where we want to make a $20,000 profit. I'm going to have to plug in my acquisition costs, which I won't have until I tell you really roughly what my offer should be. And then the cost to sell, which is 6% commission, 1% transfer tax, right? So when my cost to sell is going to be this number, whatever I think I can sell it for after repaired value, and I'm going to multiply it times 6 to get my commission, and then 1% because I got to pay transfer tax when I sell it. So when I go in here, I'm going to look for properties that have sold in the last 6 months. I did a pin drop, all right? So now we can see here are properties that have sold within pretty close proximity. And you can see there's particular property. Here's our subject property. Here's one across the street. Very similar style house, okay? So this is one virtually across the street. Looks almost identical. That's nice. They put the family photo in there. That's kind of weird. Nice house. So this is not renovated. You can see there's a little deferred maintenance. There's some drywall damage here. Obviously, the property could use paint. Looks like the carpet's not hateful. This looks like some laminate floor. Overall decent on the inside. I'd say this is, average, maybe a little bit above average for condition of a property that's priced this way. If you're looking at this, one thing we can see here is it has sort of a mixed heating and air conditioning system. Down here is a hot water baseboard. Then you have what's called like a mini split. It's a system that's typically run off of electric that gives you some air conditioning. So you got a little bit of a choppy kitchen here, right? Not a whole lot of cabinet space. So this property is not in bad condition. But if we're looking at what our property would be worth after $45,750 in renovations, now upstairs you got nice hardwoods. See, these are the original doors we were talking about. Our property would have new interior doors. You got some blue carpet here. The hardwoods are in pretty good shape. There's the blue room, blue carpet, stained up pretty bad, painted floors here. Looks like this might have been an old porch or something that they finished. These are older windows. I can tell by the amount of panes here, and you can see the bigger metal, right? So our property would have replacement windows. This one does not. It's got a decent size, looks like walk-up attic, old boiler. Okay, that explains why we saw the air conditioning units. Also has oil heat. There's the sump pump. Again, all of the things that we talked about that we've included in our renovation. It's got a decent water heater, although this should not be sitting on the ground like that. No big deal. Probably got caught on an inspection. This has a decent backyard. Looks like it might be a little bit sloped. But a pretty comparable property. Let's see. This is 1,700 square feet. We're 1,700 square feet. built the same year. If you can look at that, 1850, if you can imagine that. These are older homes. This only has one bath. We have a half bath. And then this particular property has no garage. We have a 2-car garage. So quick math for me, if I'm looking at this, this sold for $112,000. They gave up some seller's assistance. Sold in 30 days, not too bad. 30 days, not too bad. This just settled the end of February, so they snuck it in right before the. And then here's the other thing: you can see this property qualifies for USDA financing, which just means you can buy that house with no money down. So that particular property sold for $113,000. As I'm looking at that, I can look at that and say, 113. Our property has a garage. Let's say that's, $6,000. We have a half bath that's worth $2,500, and maybe because our property's renovated, it's worth another 10. So that's 116, 119, 129, 130, 1.5. That's one way of looking at comps and then deciding what the property may be worth. And again, that's right across the street. So, you couldn't ask for a better comp. I mean, we are here, and that comp is right here. You really couldn't ask for a better comp. It looks like some of the other stuff close by is just, when you're looking at this, I would not use this as a comp. It's a much different house, built in 1974, split level, much more conforming house in a neighborhood. Anyway, I'm not going to bore you with all the details. My number for this property was $145,000. That's what I think that property would be worth. I had already looked at some comps. Again, I'm not going to bore you guys with all that details. We talked about the $45,750, $20,000 profit. Now that I have the $145,000, I can figure out my acquisition cost, which is typically about 4%. All right, so $5,800. We'll just make that $6,000. And then my selling cost is total of 7% of this number. So $145,000, 7% of that number is $10,150. We'll call it $10,000. So now 145, $45,750. Again, that renovation cost I'm pretty confident in. I went room by room, really just in the property. Went through the entire exterior, which we luckily had 5 pictures. $20,000 profit, $6,000 acquisition cost, $10,000 in selling costs. So let's see what the number is. 145 minus 4750 minus $20,000 minus $6,000 minus $10,000. 63,250. So on that property, $63,250 based on those numbers. Not too far off. It's listed for 66. So that's the math. That's how we do that. I walked you through. We do the pictures. I can room by room make a calculation. Again, if you want to take a look at the numbers, $145,000. We comped it out. Based on a property that's sold close by. This is just some easy math. 45,750 renovation costs, which we did line by line. We went through it using pictures and all the details and public info. Look at all this information we got about the property. So I can calculate a renovation based off of that. $6,000 or roughly 4% of a typical acquisition cost, and then 6% commission to sell it, 1% transfer tax means it cost me $10,000 to sell it. So if you do that math, the fair offer on this property for me is $63,250, and I have not been to the property. All right, so I'll be making an offer on that house. I'll double check these numbers before we do that, but that is how we make an offer on a property without seeing it. So hope that was helpful for you. If anything, it was cool for me to pass the time, and it made something that could otherwise be boring a little more exciting. So I appreciate everybody. To have a good day, and I'll see you soon. Peace.